Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to kick off our afternoon session. I hope you all had a lovely lunch and a lovely chance to network with our guests. Now, we have a packed afternoon schedule, but please don't forget we are also live, so hello to everybody online. Thank you for joining us, and please make sure to post on social media and hashtag the Nutshell Group, What Matters Now, and the Future Summit. Sharu karai? Maybe I need to practice my Urdu, but shall we get started? Yes. Okay, let's bring the energy this afternoon. So for our next session, we will be having a dialogue on finding the bright spots. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage our first panel of the afternoon. We would like to introduce Rizwan Atwa, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Bank Islami Pakistan Limited. Welcome to the stage. Could we please also bring on Imtiaz Gadar, the Chief Executive Officer of Al Mizan Investment Management Limited. Thank you. Welcome to the stage. Farhan Tahir, the Acting Managing Director and CFO of Pakistan Mercantile Exchange Limited, and Nadir Rahman, the Chief Executive Officer of Faisal Funds. And this session is going to be moderated by Sajid Aslam, the partner of Spectro Eco LLC USA. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our fantastic panelists.
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning, good afternoon rather. So I hope everybody has got a good lunch. Yes, no? So can you clap for this panel who is coming just after the lunchtime? Okay, great, thank you. So when I was putting together this one, there was a very common question, the bright spot. So what does it mean, the bright spot? And I'm not sure how many of you are familiar. There's one image from the NASA side where they have mapped the entire world and they have identified how the civilization has moved or developed. And that entire journey is mapped around the bright spots. So it's a night vision, and it has got the lights to identify where the concentration of human beings are and why it exists there. So if you see the Nile, you will see a lot of civilization and the lights across the Nile or beside the Niles, and similar go with the Sindh River. So you will see a lot of lights there. And as soon as you go to Australia, you will find more lights on the east coast, and the most of the area is totally, it's black. And if you go in China, and that's the most interesting one, China had a more bright spot 5 years back compared to now because of the urbanization. So a lot of rural population where there were lights, we don't see that anymore because people have moved towards the urban side. And that's identified the history, the spots, the opportunity, and entire business, entire infrastructure, all the sustainability related efforts are happening where the bright spots are. So similarly, we are going to pick up today, and we will see what are the kind of bright spots we are talking about, and how we will take it forward from there. So Rizwan Sahab, I'll start with you first. So you are working on a Bank Islami side, and now the first question, is it a regulatory drive or it's a demand from the customer that the more and more banks are moving towards the Islamic banking? And what Bank Islami is doing differently as compared to other Islamic bank, including the new digital bank? So how you are keeping your bright spot and how you are really capitalizing on that?
Thank you so much. I mean, it's by all means not a regulatory driven. If we talk about mid-80s, it used to be regulatory driven because there was a law in 85 and the banks has been asked to do PLS banking. But now it's purely business driven, which is a push is coming from the public. The latest State Bank data says that about 80–85% of the consumer loan is on Sharia compliant basis, alhamdulillah. So it's definitely a demand base, and the regulator is there to facilitate, and Islamic banking evolved a lot. There used to be no regulation, no department in State Bank, but there's a very strong Sharia governance framework. Now the Sharia scholars are not trained, they also know the banking, and the bankers like us, we also started understanding the Sharia side. Once you talk about the bright side, I think there was a blind spots as well for the Islamic banking so far. Islamic banking used to miss the minorities. We have recently launched and made our mission to save humanity from riba. So blind spots for the banking or Islamic banking was leaving the minorities, multinational companies, since all financial institutions will be Islamic in few years' time. I think the bright spot for all the banks, not for Islamic bank, is to cater the needs of, or entire banking needs of the industry, is multinational companies, local corporates, commercial, middle markets, lower middle markets, and obviously the consumer market. And Bank Islami and all my peer banks, with all Islamic banking windows and Islamic banks, they're working very hard to make it happen. And we're very lucky. Some of the panel members in the past today said that it's said that only few percentage, on 22% is working on Sharia compliant basis. It is growing very fast. We started just 20 years back. Conventional banking has a history of 200, 300 years. So we are evolving very fast. A few years back, we had very few products to cater the needs of multinational companies, corporates, and international transaction. Now, I think the ecosystem is evolving very quickly. Asset management companies, financial institution, insurance companies, couple companies, the entire ecosystem is very, very focused. And this bright spot of financial inclusion in Islamic banking is very much in the eyes of the industry, and it is growing very fast.
Thank you. Rizwan sir, I'll come back to one question that was asked by someone from the audience. Why the profit rate of the Islamic bank for the depositor is lower than the conventional one? So we will come back. We don't need a detailed one, but we will come back to that one. So, Imtiaz sir, so going from a strategy perspective, so we are seeing the mutual funds as well. We are seeing a lot of AMCs coming up. So what Mizan is doing differently, and how you are finding your bright spot where you can provide the maximum return with the lowest risk to your customers? And yeah, please.
So thank you, Sajid. I think what we are doing in terms of identifying the bright spots in investment is just doing the basics right. Obviously, when it comes to Mizan, obviously one of the key factors will always remain Sharia compliant. So obviously, whether it's bright or not, the first checkbox has to be Sharia compliant, which is where we start evaluating it. And again, as I said, it's true for all kinds of investment that anyone does, so not just for Mizan, but in terms of the basic process, research and information flow, and how do you your ability to analyze trends and developments and be able to decipher it. So I think that's the first part, where really leads to shortlisting of what the investment opportunities are. So that is always the first process. The second one is then doing a relative ranking within them. So there are times in the market where there are multiple attractive bright spots that are available to you. So obviously you also have to do a comparative analysis on them. And then I think for Mizan it's also important because we cater to a wide range of people. So the question also is that, okay, what fits which portfolio's risk profile? And that also becomes very important, that it's not necessary that a bright spot for investor A is necessarily a bright spot for investor B. So then you also have to bring in the risk profile of that investor into that situation. So that would be part one of identifying the bright spots. But I think one of the other factors that people do not have a lot of focus on, and we also kind of emphasize to our unit holders and also follow it very rigorously internally, is that once you established a bright spot, you need to keep evaluating whether it remains a bright spot or not, because all of these investments are kind of dynamic. So I think what really underpins our strategy and our goal to maximize returns is also keeping a very active stance and active evaluation of the market, so that you're not only shortlisting those opportunities, investing in them, but also knowing when is the right time to exit them. Because that's also a bright spot as far as investment is concerned, knowing when to exit. And some people would argue that's actually a brighter spot, to know when the ride is done and you need to switch over. So I think that's the basic process we follow in Mizan, and that's what we also tell our unit holders. We kind of educate them as well, that when you're evaluating us, also look at us from the same lens, that what are the returns we are offering, and when is the time to switch from one fund to the other, or maybe change your risk appetite according to the macro factors. So again, Mizan follows the same thing, advocates the same thing, and it's kind of built into the company ethos.
So if I ask you for Imtiaz, in the last 4 or 5 years, let's pick up that one. What are the innovative products came out from the investment banking side, which has really created a different kind of funding mechanism there?
So I mean, again, investment banking, again, not my domain to talk on that, but if I was to talk about the investment management side, then yes, you've seen that a number of innovative kind of funds have come up, especially we take a lot of pride in being one of the AMCs that launched a commodity fund. So, giving people a vehicle to, in a way, to invest into the gold market via the mutual fund system, because at times the ticket size of gold is not enough for small investors to go in. It's been culturally a very popular asset class in Pakistan, but it's got higher barriers to entry in the sense that not everyone can afford. So imagine going to Sarafa Bazaar and asking for 5,000 rupees of gold. Nobody's going to entertain you, right? So I think that's one product that really stands out, that what we've done innovative, but that's I've kept it at a very basic level, but also in terms of structuring, coming up with fixed term plans, coming up with income plans, coming up with, doing innovation in otherwise a plain vanilla fixed income market. So innovation kind of continues at this sector level, and Mizan also remains active. And as I said, if you were to ask me one flagship one, I would probably highlight the Mizan Gold Fund as being a unique one that we've come out with.
Thank you, Imtiaz. And coming to you, Farhan, for that matter, mercantile exchange. So how you are seeing the liquidity and volatility, and specifically how you are attracting the customer towards that specific investment product within the mercantile exchanges.
Thank you very much. Mercantile exchange is a new entity relatively as compared to Islamic banks or Islamic banking or mutual funds. So we are facing a real issue of what they are not facing, Sharia issue. And we are working on this side as well with Sharia Scholar, because they don't have the knowledge exactly what futures. We are a licensed future exchange. And it's a modern concept in Pakistan. We are the only exchange. So we are facing that issue. But just to give an example, yesterday was the global day of volatility. And without volatility, there would be no volume. And yesterday was the highest volume of our exchange in Pakistan, as well as I think in globally. Gold was down by more than 2%, just because US election was won by Donald Trump. But indices have risen up, and they are gaining, and they will gain more in coming days. So we are exchange, we are provide trading platform in cash settled contracts, gold, oil, silver, currencies. We are working on physical gold, but there is, in every physical commodity, you have a supply issue. If there is demand, then there must be a supply. If supply is shortened, then demand cannot be met. So gold is supply, there is a supply issue. But we are working on that, and we are working on two sides. We have already a Tola gold size. This is around 300,000 right now value. So everybody cannot spend so much money on a single. So we are working on a smaller size, and we have launched a milli Tola, 1,000 of a Tola, that is around 300 rupees, and which can be bought online from mobile phone, from anywhere, practically from around the globe. Anybody can buy, but it will be durable, but it has to be accumulated to a Tola size, 10 Tola size, it means 10,000 milli Tola. We are working on a smaller size of delivery, but mostly people don't want to take the delivery of the gold. They want to invest their money, and then somebody else can hold for them, and then when they need the money, they can sell at a fair price without any charges. We have only 1,000 rupee of spread between buy and sell. So if 300,000 is your buy price, you can sell it 299,000 right away.
Now, thank you. So we will come back again, Farhan, to explain a little bit how people can really invest in what are the products through which they are investing. Is the similar like the stock exchanges, there is a broker, you have got an app, how you can do that. So a little bit more knowledge there. So Nadisab, coming to your side on Faisal Fund. So what is the different thing Faisal is doing as compared to the rest of the market? Why people should come to the Faisal versus any other fund or investment management organization?
I think the basic reason anybody would come to a mutual fund is for return, obviously tempered by risk. So the focus of every AMC, including Faisal, is to provide the best returns as well as the convenience of investing. So the asset managers that are owned by commercial banks have a natural advantage because they can operate through the branches of those banks. The profitability of the AMC industry versus the banking industry is quite different. So we can't open offices all over Pakistan, whereas the banks can. So there is that natural advantage. Why come to Faisal? I'll let the audience answer that question if they want to. I think everybody tries hard, everybody is pushing. The industry is growing extremely fast because the returns in general are surpassing bank deposits. My actual view on this industry is in 10-15 years, अभी कितनी होगी इम्तियाज को सब पता है ये बताएगा we are probably what 5% of bank deposits मेरे ख्याल में will be between 25 and 50% of bank deposits in the next 10 to 20 years because you've got a lack of education as well in Pakistan as people learn more as mobile apps and so on so are developed and every small town now has internet and so on and so they are aware कि यार ये मैं सिर्फ ABC बैंक में जाके current account नहीं खोल सकता मैं 10 चीजें और कर सकता हूँ. So that, I think, is the future. And this, if you look at data in developed markets, developing markets which are maybe a little more advanced than ours, so these statistics will bear out. So our industry is poised for a almost vertical climb, I think.
No, thank you, Nader. I think you picked up two points which I definitely would like to explore. Number one, our overall investment ratio, if we compare to the GDP or if we compare to the region, that how many people are actively investing and how they are really planning. So that's one part. And the second part is the convenience, that how convenient it is, and you also picked up Farhan on the education side. So how familiar people are with that in terms of how to invest and where they can invest and what is the most convenient way, can they do it through the mobile or all that? And do they have enough information to really pick and choose that which investment to invest in? So what we can do as an industry, and I'm not talking about as an organization, as an industry to raise more awareness that how we should be really helping people and get into their lifestyle on an everyday basis, like the life insurances are doing. They are becoming a part of their lifestyle. So they are suggesting them things. Can the investment industry become the similar one, that you have money sitting with you? Why don't you look at the different investment side as an industry or as an individual organization? So Rizwan sir, we will start with you, but the first question which that was a pending one, why the Islamic bank is offering a lower rate of return on the deposit compared to conventional one? General perception.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, it's a myth. In fact, it's not happening. First, I tell you the flip side. As far as our lending is concerned, our borrowing customer, they get financing need on a much cheaper rate or a very competitive rate as compared to the banking industry, which is conventional, and still have about 78% of the market. So Islamic banks are very, very competitive as far as services are concerned. On the side of the deposit, we pay, the depositors are, even the small depositors are very smart. Asset management companies, they are offering them good rate. The other customer, which are really the large customer, they have a comparison, how to invest in dollar, what are the rates, what Fed is doing. So this market is very much mature as far as the profit rates are concerned. Relatively, the cost of doing business for Islamic banks are a little bit higher than the conventionals because we go for the Sharia compliance, additional requirement in our credit administration and multiple other costs. But quite frankly, those costs are absorbed by the bank, Islamic banks, and we don't really pass on to the customer. So the profit rates are very, very competitive. I keep watching the rates, monthly profit rate, even in a going scenario where the profit rates are going. Most of the Islamic banks are offering very competitive rates. So it's a myth. Yes, used to be an issue a few years back, but now for the last, I showed you for the 7 years, most of the Islamic banks are paying very, very competitive rates.
No, they didn't say that they will move their deposits and all that. They just want to ask the
market is
logic behind that, right?
Market is going.
Yeah, please, on the awareness and how we can mobilize more funds towards the investment side. So what we can do to have a better deposit, all the investment side. No, you start with the banking and then we will go to the asset management.
Quite frankly, at this stage, we have no issue because by default and the mindset of the customers and the public, because 95% population is already Muslim and they know, and scholars, the regulator and the government have done already a lot. we have a reasonable deposit inflow in the banks, and average increase in Islamic banking is more than the conventional bank. You analyze the data of 3 to 4 years. Islamic bankers, they've outperformed in the industry, mashallah. And this is coming from the public, in fact. And obviously, Islamic banks are also investing resources, time to educate the people. It's just a process to make it halal. So the prohibition of riba is very strict. The most strict orders in the Quran is against the riba. So people already know. It used to be a very simple argument that kaan idhar se pakad lo, udhar se pakad lo. But I think that is very old argument. I used to hear it 20 years back. Market has matured, mashallah. I used to be on the board of Al-Mizan Investment. It used to be around 10-15 billion rupees. Now it's about $1 trillion, I suppose. 600 billion. 600 billion. So it's a huge. So a flow of deposits toward Islamic banking is not really a problem. The asset booking is also not a problem. However, there are few things that Islamic banking is not unable to do, and the industry also, is the long-term exposure or the equity stake in the businesses. So it's not only the responsibility of the Islamic bank, but it's the responsibility of the industries to take exposure of 10, 20, 30 years and invest in the project which are development, bridges, hotels, and infrastructure. So there everybody is lacking, and so with Islamic banks.
No, very, very true. So Imtiaz, what we can do better to mobilize the investments and the savings?
So I think awareness is number one. I think we need a cultural shift of sorts. बहुत ज़्यादा Allah tawakkal वाला हमारा culture है, rather than a financial planning one. So as some people say that what we need to inculcate is that whatever your monthly income is, first pay yourself, pay your future, and then go ahead to expenses. What we do is we start with spending, and then if something is left over, that comes in. Obviously inflation becomes a big challenge, but that's where discipline is required, and you'll have to inculcate it. It has to be a behavioral change where people realize the importance of saving. I think that's going to be the first thing, that when savings come in. The second point is, okay, then we start educating them that once you have saved, now where do you invest? What's better for you? Mutual fund, fixed income mutual fund, equity mutual fund, you go to direct equities if you have the expertise. So those come later. So if you were to ask me, number one variable is bringing that cultural change. I think something we keep discussing is that probably we need that education at a school and college level, to start educating people at a very young age what savings means. So not just going into saving as a discretionary or forced saving, but let's have this as an option, and people do understand why you need to do this. I think rest will follow. Once the saving is there, investments will find their takers and they'll go in. But that's what we need to change at a fundamental level.
So Imtiaz, you're not suggesting if somebody is not saving that 20% should go to FBR, right? That's not your.
So
the additional one.
That's as I
other
said,
than the tax.
So I used inflation as a milder term, but that's what I meant. After you've paid the FBR and inflation, whatever is left over, first pay yourself. But there are more stakeholders coming in between paying yourself and earning. So yeah, but you'll have to live with it. That's the landscape, unfortunately.
Right. Farhan, so your product is a little bit newer as compared to the rest of the. So what you are doing from an awareness perspective to attract more people towards the mercantile exchange?
Actually, I think people save, but not in banks, not in mutual funds. They save in gold, or they save this committees or something like that. Yeah. They know, they want to trust on those people only who they know. So we are offering the product of gold just for the sake of, okay, it is easier to sell to people, that they can buy gold from their home, and it will be transparent. So I think we are working on the ease of onboarding our clients. So right now, I think we have worked on opening of a new account with a smaller 200,000, not more than 200,000, within 5 minutes. And he can buy the gold right now. We have a 22 hours market, 5 days a week, open on Eid, Bakr Eid, and Muharram, whenever the gold is available in the market. And we are making it 24 hours and 7 days a week. We are looking forward to make it available right every time. So we are making it more accessible for people to trade and open account and trade and a smaller amount. Everybody cannot save more money than he can save 500 or 600 at any time. So we are working on this side by product.
And you partner with the banks as well to get the access to the clients, or you have got your own app or?
We have our own
Your
app,
own app,
yes. We are not partnering with the bank. Bank are a channel. Bank are looking
Your
for,
channel,
we are partnering bank for making this product available through
Yeah.
banks, mutual fund,
For the
and
channel side,
for
okay.
any entity who is interacting with the customers. They right now they are offering, almost every bank has a mall where they are offering the electronics products or saving products. They can add this gold as well there. So we are working on this side, onboarding to make easy, and then offers that product which is easier to trade and hold for a long time.
Right, thank you. So Nadev, what is the bright spot to really create that awareness and attract more money towards the investment and create the habit of savings? And FBR is not the answer.
FBR को तो अभी छोड़ दें सर. The answer really is penetration and education. अब जैसे इम्तियाज ने mention किया, I used to work at the stock exchange before I started here. And in the national curriculum जो government schools में पढ़ाया जाता है, we inserted a section on PSX so that even young children at least understand कि ये होती है एक चीज़ और कैसे होती है और क्या करना होता है. And I think that is the step one. उसके बगैर it will remain a hit and miss situation, and as long as you have mobile apps. And you see, the penetration I think हो गई है. A lot of people now know that there is a mutual fund industry, there is a stock exchange, there is a blah blah blah. लेकिन अभी तक जो, again I'll refer to Imtiaz, he's my bright spot. So he said कि देखें assessment टूल्स तो हैं. अब क्या होता है, वो जी मेरे नेबर ने नई होंडा गाड़ी खरीद ली. कैसे खरीदी? आंसर जी स्टॉक मार्केट से. अब आपको पता नहीं है कि कौन सी अच्छी कंपनी है, ख़राब कंपनी है. आप बस धड़ाधड़ जो भी पैसे हैं लगा देते हो, वो फिर जीरो जब होता है तो आप रोते हो कि यार ये क्या हुआ. तो दी असेसमेंट टूल्स नीड टू बी लिटिल मोर एक्सेसिबल एंड अवेलेबल. मोस्ट वेबसाइट्स ऑफ फाइनेंशियल फर्म्स हैव द बेसिक्स. लेकिन इसमें वही है कि अगर हम जैसे हमने अपना बिजनेस बढ़ाना है, वी नीड टू गो आउट देयर एंड यू नो द स्टॉक एक्सचेंज डज अ वेरी गुड जॉब. दे गो टू स्कूल्स, यूनिवर्सिटीज, create awareness, but that's on the equity side. The much larger market, of course, is the fixed income side. So that generally is a much lower risk category. So that उसमें आप इतनी awareness भी ना create करें, लोगों को समझ आ जाती है जल्दी कि मैं 100 रुपए लगाऊंगा, एक साल बाद 110 रुपए हो जाएंगे. You know, that's pretty basic. तो यही है कि education and I think digital penetration. I mean, you cannot reach 250 million people physically. So it has to be through the internet. I mean, it has to.
Thank you, Dad. So we have a question. We have time for 2 questions. So, and we will have those 2 questions, and then we will go with the answer here. Anyone, if you can raise your hand. Yeah, guys there, if you can provide a mic there. And one more.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Shahroz Ahmed, business consultant, Framework. So, मेरा जनरल सवाल बेसिकली एसेट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी के हवाले से ही है. जैसा कि अभी जो फैसल बैंक के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं उन्होंने कहा कि विदाउट एनी असेसमेंट जो है वो जहाँ चाहे वो इम्तियाज़ साहब पैसा लगा देते हैं. तो मैं टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट इस बात से मतलब मैं यहाँ पे कंफ्यूज हो गया हूँ, क्योंकि मेरा ऐसा मानना नहीं है. क्योंकि बिकॉज वी हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्ग टीम ऑफ CFAs and they're working very hard in order to where to invest and where to find the best return for our customers. Because अगर हम देखें तो असेसमेंट के बिना तो
सवाल क्या है?
जी मैं सवाल पे आ रहा हूँ थोड़ा सा ताकि वो उसको रेफर करने के लिए. मेरा सवाल ये है कि अगर इसी तरह से हो तो क्या मैं ये पूछ सकता हूँ कि क्या हम स्पेकुलेशन के ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं? आर वी वर्किंग ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ स्पेकुलेशन? आई मीन वी डोंट हैव, क्या इसमें कोई हकीकत भी है कि हम बगैर किसी असेसमेंट के और बगैर किसी research के हम इन्वेस्ट कर देते हैं?
Okay.
तो there is a concept of speculation in banking.
Okay, so your question is first that is it true what Nadir Saab said? It's not what you are referring to. I'll come back to that.
Okay,
speculation is a one question which we'll pick.
Thank you so much.
Any other question? So if you can bring the mic here, or if anybody else is...
I have the mic.
Okay.
Achha, my question is that you mentioned that there has been considerable growth in assets under management, specifically the mutual funds. But I think this was not the case with equity mutual funds and fixed income mutual funds. The growth is more towards money market mutual funds. Why is it that we were unable to keep that pace within the long-term assets like fixed income funds and equity mutual funds? Secondly, when I see and compare Pakistan's market with other markets, the investment in pensions is pretty low. As a percentage of GDP, I think India is around 9%. Pakistan is less than 0.1%. In many of the countries, this is around 100% of GDP, or even more than 100%. So why is it that we are unable to, why the VPS is unable to gain traction among the youth, since we are a youthful country? Thank you.
Thank you. So 2 questions, and we have got less than 2 minutes, so we have to be very, very quick. So who's going to pick the speculation one? Whether we get into the speculative income one?
I should take the first one, I guess, because
नहीं speculation पे तो basically तो मैं बताता हूँ आपको बाकी लोग
but उसमें I think it's important to clarify what Nadir Saab was saying.
No, Nadir Saab never said that Imtiaz is doing without assessment, so that wasn't the case.
So the his
नाराज हो
point
जाएंगे
was,
आप ऐसा सवाल पूछें. Anyway, I'll take the speculation one quickly. You've got a minute left. देखिए, speculation is considered a bad word. It's actually not a bad word. Today you'll assess a company, any company. I mean, I'll just throw a name out. OGDC, Pakistan's largest company. You'll study it. आप उसको देखेंगे financials, future growth, exploration कितनी है, क्या कौन से blocks हैं, तेल निकल रहा है, गैस निकल रही है, क्या हो रहा है, rates कहाँ जा रहे हैं, और आप उसमें invest करेंगे. But you are not certain of a return. Macroeconomics can change. OGDC किसी, again, I don't want to be quoted out of context, but again, कोई accident हो जाता है factory में, बहुत चीजें हो सकती हैं. तो you are taking a best guess after doing an educated assessment of making an investment. But it can go in any direction. Banks भी loan देते हैं, बड़ी assessment करते हैं, company bankrupt हो जाती है. I mean, it happens. So speculation is considered a bad word. In most developed markets, they actually thrive on this word. And they say, you are speculating because you are taking a bet based on assessment. So आपने bet ही ली at the end of the day that this investment will perform as I think it will perform, but it may not.
So every decision has got an element.
It has to be.
I mean, it has to be. Then otherwise it wouldn't be called decision. So less than 30 seconds around long-term investments versus the fixed income or a money market one.
so I think it's very natural. You just have to look at how the both asset classes have done. Interest rates went up to 22% in this time, and the equity market was flat literally for a period of 5 years at the 45,000 level. So obviously money flows to where more excitement is. The market's doubled in the last 1 year, but it's happened at a time where people are coming off the back of 5 very painful years of equity investment. So the initial reaction obviously was कि 5 साल बाद मेरा rate आ गया तो मैं पहले तो exit कर लूँ. And I think what the market will need is a slightly more sustained rally for people to start looking at equities again. It's not just mutual fund. I think overall participation in equities has dwindled because, you know, the other asset class was doing wonderfully well and equities are not doing well. So I don't think there's a structural problem in there. It's more of a cyclical nature. So as market, you know, kind of convinces investors that this rally is here to stay, you will see equity investors coming back and that asset mix also changing for the mutual funds.
No, thank you. And then again, go back to the fundamental which we were discussing, the habit, the change in the culture, long-term investment, going and looking at the pensions as one of a key area, that how you're going to do that and what are the key products for later. So thank you, panel. Thank you very much for being such a wonderful panel. Big round of applause for them, and thank you very much for being such a lovely audience there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. If you could just stay on the stage for the presentation of the souvenirs. Now, I have been blown away with every single speaker on this stage today. So truly insightful, and I think we can say that we have found the bright spots here today. So for the presentation of the souvenirs, could I please invite Amir Shahzad, the Executive Director of Unity Foods, and Major General Shahzad Naeem from Nutshell on stage. And I would also like to invite Saira Awan Malik, the President of TCS, to present the souvenirs. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Could we please have the presenters to present the souvenirs? And firstly, could we present Rizwan Atta, the Chief Executive Officer of Bank Islami Pakistan Limited, with his souvenir. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Could we please invite Saira Awan Malik to the stage to present the souvenirs? Saira, could you please come to the stage to present the souvenirs? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and can we get a round of applause for Syra, who will be presenting these souvenirs. Firstly to Rizwan Atwar, the Chief Executive Officer of Bank Islami Pakistan Limited. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and next up will be Imtiaz Gadar, the Chief Executive Officer of Al Mazin Investment Management Limited. Rizwan Atwar, Chief Executive Officer of Bank Islami Pakistan Limited. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause. And next today, could we please present the souvenir to Imtiaz Gadar, the Chief Executive Officer of Al Mazin Investment Management Limited. Round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. And next, could we please present the souvenir to Farhan Tahir, the Acting Managing Director and CFO of Pakistan Mercantile Exchange Limited. Round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Keep this going. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And lastly, but not least, Nadir Rahman, the Chief Executive Officer of Faisal Funds. Round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And just all pose together for a group photo. Thank you very much.